What's up, guys? This is Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the broader markets. I'm going to break down some big news involving NIO and what's happening so far as we have some news involving President Trump. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. Anyways, NIO likes to get bought back up around the 3.4 area, and we also like to reject near 3.55, going back and forth between supply and demand. Now, we're still kind of stuck in the middle, so we'll have to see which way this ends up going. But we did see a bit of a sell-off after more news came out involving President Trump's tariffs. NIO is giving the ET5, the ET5T, and the EC6 a lot of credit because the Champions editions have come out, which goes to show how powerful they tend to be, how awesome they tend to be as well with their excellent amounts of speed. But despite that, the overall price/sales ratio is still down for NIO, at least for the time being, relative to what we've seen from before. That's actually a big drop we've seen in them overall. And it's getting a lot of criticism as a result of this. We've been seeing the share price continue to fall. Other companies, such as like Xbong, have higher ratios, but NIO's is still kind of low. However, despite this, NIO is telling us that by Q4 of this year, they believe they're going to be achieving profitability, and that could really help to offset this. So we'll see if that ends up being the case. But this is happening as a result of the share price continuing to dip. Goldman Sachs is still neutral on NIO and not really seeing anything else that's changing as the price-price ratio is dipping. Now, for big news, back in April, President Trump announced the reciprocal tariffs. He announced very high tariffs between 25 and about 70% for different countries, depending on the products and such. And then he delayed those tariffs. Well, right now he just signed an executive order to delay the deadline. The deadline was actually supposed to be on July 9th, but now it looks like it's going to be extended until August 1st. And if these countries don't have deals that come out, they're going to be at risk of higher tariffs. The higher tariffs are going to be coming. President Trump once again said that some of them are going to be lower than before. So Cambodia, for example, had now a 36% tariff compared to 49% from before. And other countries are now seeing like in the 40% range. So he is threatening higher tariffs. He's also talking about how we could be looking for higher tariffs on steel and aluminum. He also announced 25% tariffs on Malaysia, Kazakhstan, and many other countries. Also, South Africa would see a 30% tariff. That is something else President Trump has announced. He also talked about a 25% tariff on Japan and South Korea, and that we're seeing a lot of news about that. If anything, despite this happening, South Korea have come out and said they want to negotiate a deal, though, as soon as possible with those threats. And then President Trump also has threatened that if any country is aligned with anti-American BRICS organizations, they're going to be facing an additional 10% tariff. So he's going to increase the tariffs even more if they end up doing that. And then the European Union is also trying to make a deal right now after we're seeing a lot of these negotiations taking place and these threats of higher tariffs. So they want to set another deal as well. And that's the same thing we've been seeing as well. A lot of them have been coming out. So that's what's been coming out. And then this is the actual quote from President Trump where he talked about this additional 10% tariff on any countries that are associated with BRICS or if they align themselves with them. Elon Musk is forming a new political party, and that is what caused Tesla to sell off quite significantly. It is still weak as a result, so you want to be very careful. Heading into tomorrow, it's going to be Tuesday, July 8th. We just have consumer inflationary expectations at 11 a.m. And then we just have some notes and bill auctions, once again, quite quiet data. Then the market's at extreme greed. We're going to see how well this holds up or if this starts to slow down a bit. Typically, when we're at extremes, the market forms tops. Right now, the put to call option ratio is down. This is a result of low puts in the market and higher calls. That could be a sign that the market's getting ready for a temporary dip. Keep in mind, I'm saying temporary. I'm not saying this is going to last forever. And this is what the earnings calendar looks like. There's nothing too significant coming out. So keep that in mind. So as far as NIO's going, we're just range bound. As we hit 3.35, we like to bounce. We also like to reject near 3.55, so we could be dipping to like the lower 3.35 area, and we're going to see if we bounce off that. So look for a little bit of downside, and we'll see how it ends up reacting. As far as SPY goes, we're dipping a bit. We're going to see if we could hold 619 or not. If we break past that and bounce, we're looking for basically 622 plus to push back up. But if 619 fails us, we're looking for basically a pushback down towards 615 to 616. We're going to see if buyers defend. The setup does look a bit more bearish, might be coming down a little bit more, and we're going to see if buyers defend. The QQQ is also dipping. We need to get back above 555 to rebound if we can to reclaim that. There's going to be a risk of the low of the day being retested in a test of 548. The IWM needs to get back above 219.5. If not, we're looking for 218. ES is looking weak here, could be dipping back down to about 6250. NQ is also dipping towards 22,700. Bitcoin's in the middle. It may continue to downtrend, might look for a test of 108,500 and may continue to fall. For NQ, we're going to be dipping back down to about 156. We're going to see a buyer's defender, but I do think that starting out at NQ, I'm talking about Nvda, it might be dipping to 156. We're going to see a buyer's defender for a small dip. Apple looks a little weak. We need to see if it holds 209. If it holds this, we could bounce. But if 209 fails us, I think we dip towards 205. We're going to see if we bounce off that. For AMD, we're kind of weak here. We have kind of like an inverse cup and handle. This could be favoring a bit more downside. If we can't hold above 135, then we could be dipping to 132. For Coinbase, we're looking for 351. If it doesn't hold, we could continue to fall. If it does hold, we could bounce and continue to uptrend. On Amazon, we could be dipping back down to 221. We're going to see if we hold or not. If not, it could be continuing to fall. Meta could be retesting 713. We're going to see if buyers defend or not. And then we have to be very careful. Google is going to be dipping to 176 to 175. We're going to see if buyers defend. And then Microsoft could be dipping all the way down to 495, if not all the way down to 493. And we're going to see how it ends up reacting. So keep that in mind. The VIX is looking a bit more bullish if we could break resistance around the 18.25 area to push higher. But if we end up losing basically 17.5, we're looking for that gap down and that gap to fill below. So watch that very closely. For now, we're going to be very, very open-minded. And for now, just keep in mind that the SPY chart is looking a little bit weaker. NIO is getting dragged down with all this tariff uncertainty. So I do think that we might test 3.35, rebound a little bit for 3.47, then come back down. As of right now, it's trading sideways, not really doing much. So keep that in mind. With that being said, I thank you all so much for listening. Have a good one and peace out.